probe. He won the conviction against Paul Manafort and has extensive experience in flipping witnesses. Also headed the fraud section at DOJ. Thanks for being here.
Nice to be here.
Let me read from what the prosecutors are looking at. Tax lawyers said it would be, quote, unusual to bring a case on a failure to pay taxes and fringe benefits alone against Weisselberg. The lawyers could think of no other recent example, a.k.a. precedent. I was discussing that with the Times journalist tonight. Your view of the outlines of the case described there?
Well, we don't know what they're investigating exactly. The biggest thing that we do know is this fringe benefit. But I would suspect if I were trying to make a case on Weisselberg to get him to flip, I would borrow a page from what we did when we were charging Rick Gates, that is Paul Manafort's number two. And what we did is we pointed out that there was individual liability that Rick Gates had with respect to his own tax returns, but he also aided and abetted and conspired in Paul Manafort's crimes. So in many ways, he was facing not just what Paul Manafort was facing, but he also faced his own individual liability. And then we did our homework, and we were very open with his counsel about the evidence. And I think that is going to be the same tack that's going to be taken here, which is this is what you're facing, and lay out all your proof to his defense counsel. And then also make sure they know that you mean business. In other words, that you're not afraid of actually pulling the trigger and bringing those charges.
And walk us through what you mean about the other potential liability. You're speaking about things that Weisselberg may have done for the corporate benefit of Trump Organization, not, he would argue, for his personal benefit, but you're saying he could still be in a lot of trouble for that.
Exactly. So if the Trump Organization was cheating on its own taxes, if Donald Trump was cheating on his personal taxes, it's hard to imagine that Alan Weisselberg wouldn't have participated in some way. So you want to basically make sure that you're looking at all of that proof. As Michael Cohen said, and as you know, I rarely agree with him, but I think he's right here, having the comptroller as somebody who appears to be cooperating is really significant. If I were the CFO, Weisselberg, and I knew that the comptroller was cooperating and that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office has all of the documentation, assuming there is some crime there, they're going to have it. Because they now have a witness and they have the documentation.
You say you rarely agree with Cohen. I mean, I'd go further, Andrew. You were part of the Mueller team that farmed his case off to New York that sent him to prison.
Yeah, well, we partially farmed off the case. If you remember, we actually kept the part that was connected to the Mueller investigation, and the part that was unrelated was sent to the Southern District, and he was prosecuted for both. So that was an example of somebody who, there was a strong case being made in two separate offices. That's a way to get somebody to flip, and it worked, at least in part, with respect to Michael Cohen.
All very interesting. It reminds everyone that you served at the DOJ. I mentioned in more than one role, and of course the Special Counsel's Office as part of a Justice Department. But you were positioned quite independently and quite adversarially, I would say, to much of what was going on in the Trump administration. Indeed, having read the Mueller report more than once, it is a voluminous detail about efforts to really undercut the way the DOJ is supposed to work. Whether that's impeachable or not, of course, is a congressional judgment. I bring that up because I want your reaction to other late-breaking news today. That this whole thing of the Trump DOJ going after someone that Donald Trump didn't like, whether he worked for them or not, common storyline. This was a criminal probe and a civil lawsuit together that was against John Bolton. Do you see that as part of Merrick Garland continuing to have to clean house and really look under the hood of each thing that was done previously and decide whether it's has merit or not?
Yeah, I think that Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco have their work cut out for them. But here's one where we really knew the story in advance, because if you recall, something that got very little attention was something that I thought was quite explosive, which was Ken Weinstein, a very respected lawyer in D.C., represented the woman in the White House who was in charge of the classification review. And she submitted an affidavit to the court many months ago laying out what was frankly, quite salacious, where she said, we did all of our work, we were quite rigorous, and I cleared the Bolton book for publication. And then the White House political people got involved and essentially pulled that all back. It's really hard to see how this Justice Department, reading that objectively, would think that it's appropriate to go forward with a criminal or civil case, because it really reeks of political interference in the classification process, or in this case, declassification process. And that's an area where there should be no politics, obviously, at all.
Yeah, appreciate your clarity there, Andrew, and it's important, and it goes to a long list where you have some people that it was an actual criminal probe, you have some where there were other measures taken, then you have the seizing of records that we've been covering, but all of it together is enemies of the president, and a lot of it coming out of DOJ, so a lot of work to be done. Andrew Weissman,